This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning, good evening. So we will wait for 2 more minutes for others to join and then we'll start our discussion. So we'll give a couple of minutes for other learners to join and then we'll start our discussion. Once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to Isha Training Solutions. Myself, Saravanan Srinivasan. So I'm going to take you through this entire learning of JMeter tool. So I have close to 14 years of experience in this stream of work. I know various load testing tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, Performance Center, BlazeMeter. So I know various APM tools like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Neuralink, Datadog. So I have wide range of experience in working with multiple customers, multiple technology like that. So with that knowledge and experience, yes, we are going to learn this tool, which is actually Apache JMeter tool. Without wasting further time, we'll go and validate or understand what are all the course content that we are going to learn. Okay. So while going through that, I'm encouraging each and every one of you, please ask your question, because anytime if you feel like you want certain clarity, please stop me at any point of time, ask your question, and then we'll move into the next discussion. Okay. So I encourage each and every one of you, please ask your question and then we'll move to the next topic. So first of all, we are going to see the introduction part of it. Introduction, what is performance testing, types of performance testing, JMeter introduction. So we'll get the understanding. Okay, what are all the performance testing tools that are available? In that, what are open source tools and then commercial tools? In that, why we have to learn JMeter like that? We'll get the initial understanding. So JMeter introduction part, and then how to do the installation. I mean, it is not pure installation. It is actually the procedure for doing the installation. And then how you are going to set up your Java home and path and all, because Java home and path is important whenever you are running any Java program. Okay, so that also we are going to learn. And then JMeter is working in the concept of HTTP proxy recording. Okay, JMeter working in the concept of HTTP proxy recording. So how we are going to do the proxy recording, right? So that also we are going to learn. And then how to do the root certificate installation. Root certificate installation. I mean, so whenever you are doing any HTTPS website. Okay, I hope already you guys would have aware like what is HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, HTTP means hypertext transfer protocol. So HTTPS means secured hypertext transfer protocol. So which means that there are website are secured website, there are website they are not secured website. So if it is normal website, no problem. If it is secured website, for that JMeter root certificate is actually important. So for those secured website, if you require to install the root certificate, how to do that? Okay, that step also we are going to validate. And then property files in JMeter, there are property files are there. We are going to see certain example of property files. And then in browser, how we are going to set up the proxy. Okay, and then basic JMeter recording. Okay, these are the things we are going to see during the introduction part. Okay, so why I'm saying, say like your browser is there. Okay, browser is there, and then your application is there. Okay, your application is there. So in order to make your application and browser to communicate, you have your tool in the middle. JMeter tool will be there in the middle. So whatever the communication that you are doing, right? Anything, so it has to go via your JMeter tool only. Okay, it has to go via your JMeter tool only. So which means that JMeter tool is actually what? It is actually acts like a proxy. Okay, so that is how we are doing the recording. Okay, JMeter is actually a man in the middle, so it is actually going to capture the traffic because we are doing the proxy recording. So in order to do that, in browser level we are setting the proxy also, and then in tool level also we are setting the proxy. Okay, so this communication will be happening. Okay, so whatever the traffic that you are giving it in the browser, that traffic will be captured. HTTP traffic or HTTPS traffic, that traffic is actually captured in JMeter. So that we are going to explain in a very detailed way. Okay, I'm going to explain it in a very detailed way. Okay, right now maybe we are only checking the course content, but during the regular session, I'm going to explain how this is actually happening, how the traffic capture we were able to validate. So actually, these are small things during the interview. People will check it, guys. I mean, whether you are fundamentally strong in JMeter or what, or small critical things you are aware of it or what, like that they will check it. So those points also we are going to discuss. Okay, I mean, in this training, we are not only going to learn about tool, we are also going to learn about interview preparation things, real world happenings. I mean, in real world, how this tool is actually used. Okay, so all those things also we are going to learn. Okay, real world examples and also interview preparation questions. I know in this group, many are actually going to attend interviews post completion of the session. Okay, so yes, our focus area is also on the interview preparation as well. During the regular session, what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain. Okay, these are the topic will come under interview preparation things. These questions will come during the interviews. This is how your interviewer will check your knowledge. So like that, we will discuss a lot of things. Okay, that's how our course content is actually designed. Okay, this interview preparation questions, and also you are going to learn about real world market challenges and how it is actually happening in the real world. That things also we are going to discuss. Okay, so basically till now what I told you in the introduction part, we are going to fundamentally understand what is actually performance testing, what are all the types of performance. This is very important, because during the interview you will get a lot of questions in this type of performance testing. Type of performance testing. Say like load testing. Say like load test. And then stress test. And then endurance test. Endurance test or soak test. The other name is actually soak test. Okay. And then scalability test. And then volume test. Okay. So even certain cases they are saying high availability test. So like this, yes, different type of testing available under performance testing. Okay, when somebody is actually saying like performance testing, under that what are all the types of testing means? Yes, you have lot of things are there. Even load test in certain organization, they are doing one more activity called peak load test. Okay, so yes, during our regular session, I'm going to explain all these things with example. I mean, with example in the sense like what is your understanding, how much of a time that you are going to execute it, how much of a load that you are going to execute it, like that. We are going to discuss in a detailed way all these test types, because whenever you are applying for any interview with say like 3 years experience or 4 years experience performance tester, definitely they'll expect you what are all the type of testing that you are aware of, what is your experience in executing these type of tests, what are all the activities that you will perform during the execution, what output that you will get it post completion of the test, like that they will validate your understanding. So what I'm going to explain, yes, the type of testing, and then what activity you will do, how much time that you will execute, what concurrent load that you will execute, like that we are going to discuss in the real world level. So that you are also going to get the clear understanding of what we are doing it during this time period. So type of testing also we are going to discuss in a very detailed way. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Any question guys till now? Anybody have any question till now?
Hi, I'm Chandra. Like, I just want to know, do we use any code in this JMeter, like programming language?
Sorry, your voice is very low. Come again.
Do we use any programming language in JMeter?
Yes, it is there. Okay, I would say Bean shell scripting is there, Groovy scripting is there, JavaScript. I mean, Bean shell would looks like JavaScript only. So Bean shell scripting is there, Groovy scripting is there. Okay, so but I wanted to put a disclaimer here. It is not that every time you require the scripting and all. Okay, in my experience, there are people they are working for more than 10 years also without even doing scripting. Okay, without even doing scripting, they usually I'm still they are working. Why I'm saying, so it is all case to case, requirement to requirement. Okay, not always everybody is actually going to get the challenge, or everybody is going to get the work related to the basic scripting or Groovy scripting. There are situations you are still going to record your application and then it is going to fulfill your requirement. Okay, so in that situation you don't require to uh, uh, do your bean shell scripting or Groovy scripting. Okay, but learning the fundamental is always value add. Okay, learning the fundamental is always value add. I mean, you can simply read the fundamental. That's all. Simple. Okay, during our session also, I'll explain the fundamental scripting understanding, because that is more than sufficient. That is more than sufficient to do your actual work. So So that's how we are going to even cover it. Okay. So answer to your question. So it is not really high critical thing to completely do advanced scripting and all, because that is not the requirement. That is not the requirement. So where you require a little fundamental scripting understanding, that is more than sufficient. Even without that also you can survive. That is what my answer. Okay. So without that also, yes, you can still survive, because the requirement is actually important. Sometimes your application is not at all expecting you to do the scripting, means then there is no point in doing or understanding it. So where your application is actually having the requirement, then only you need scripting and all. If your application is actually plain vanilla application, plain vanilla web application, in that case you don't require any scripting also. Clear?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So next one is inside JMeter. I mean, yes, you are going to do the script preparation using JMeter. Means inside JMeter there are, I would say, the components. There are components are there. Okay. In that there are components that are listed here. Okay. One is thread group. Okay. Thread group. Okay. Thread group means in that only you are configuring your concurrent user load and duration, or ramp up, ramp down. Okay, ramp up, ramp down. All those things you are configuring inside thread groups. Okay, so which means that that is the component used for providing the load. That is a component used for providing the load. So that thread groups we are going to learn four different things. Okay, thread group, normal thread group, concurrency thread group, stepping thread group, ultimate thread group. Okay, four different thread groups we are going to learn. So definitely I will say in this this normal thread group only mostly everybody is actually using. But during the interview, people are trying to understand whether you are having an understanding of different other thread groups or what. Even they'll try to ask by twisting the question. I mean, what you will do it in the stepping thread group, what you will do it in the ultimate thread group. So where is ramp up is actually coming, where is ramp down is actually coming, like that. They'll try to twist you and then ask the question. Yes, we are going to learn that as a practical example itself, so you don't want to worry at all, right? Because you are practically learning, you are going to answer to those questions in a clear way. Okay, so which means that, so maybe I'll say like this: thread group, what it is going to do, how many users they are going to come inside the system, ramp up, and then how much of a time they are going to execute it, steady state, and then how much of a time they are going out of the system, that is actually ramp down. Okay, this is actually ramp up. Okay, and this is actually steady state, and this is actually ramp down. Okay, ramp down. So which means that we are understanding which thread group is what activity. In certain thread group you don't have ramp down at all. Okay, in certain thread group you have ramp up and ramp down both. Okay, so how much of a time you are going to run your load test? Okay, which means that that is a steady state. Okay, say like you are running the load test for 1 hour, means the steady state should be 1 hour. Okay, so which means that that planning, okay, how many user, how much of a time that you are going to execute it, right? That planning is actually happening where? Thread groups only. Thread groups only. So that thread group also we are going to learn it in a detailed way. We are going to learn it in a detailed way. Okay, so the next one is samplers. Okay, samplers is also another component in JMeter. What is sampler? What is sampler? Okay, so now in this meeting, okay, in this meeting I am speaking and then you guys are observing. Okay, I'm speaking and you guys are observing. So which means that voice is a communication between you and me. Voice. Okay, voice is a communication between you and me. So which means that voice is a protocol. Voice is a protocol. Communication between two entity. Communication between two entity. Okay, communication between two entity, voice, right? In this case. So which means that that protocol is nothing but sampler in JMeter. Okay, in LoadRunner they are calling that as protocol. Even LoadRunner they are calling that as protocol, but in JMeter they are calling that as samplers. They are calling that as samplers. Okay, so samplers means what? Communication between the entity. Communication between the entity. So now you think like this. Okay, communication, browser and server. They are communicating it in what? HTTP. Okay, HTTP or HTTPS. Your browser and your server is actually communicating between what? HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so those are called as communication between two entities. So like that, there are samplers are available in JMeter. Okay, yes, it is a protocol. Yes, it is a sampler between the two communication entity. So what are all the samplers that are there? HTTP sampler is there, debug sampler is there, JDBC request is there, FTP sampler is there. Like that, there are types are there. Okay, there are types are there through which the actual communication is actually happening between the entity, and we are going to learn that with a typical example also, like how the communication is actually happening. So 99% of the applications are more than 99 also. Okay, so HTTP traffic only, because your web application traffic means it is actually HTTP only. Your web application traffic means it is actually HTTP traffic only. So yes, we are going to learn that in a detailed way by doing the recording. Manually also you can do it, or through the recording also you can do it. So which means that HTTP traffic we are going to learn it in a little more detailed way, because your entire industry is actually using the sampler, which is actually HTTP sampler only. Your entire industry is actually using HTTP request only, because your web application communication is actually happening through HTTP request. Through HTTP request it is actually happening. Okay, so and then okay, samplers means now we have the understanding. Okay, so I told you the thread group is for planning your load test or any test, and then samplers is nothing but communication between the entity, which is actually the protocol. And then next one is your logic controllers. Logic controllers. Okay, logic controllers means what? So your samplers are executing, say like this, if you consider. So example, I am clicking one button, guys. Okay, I'm clicking one button. Okay, submit button. I'm clicking. Okay, this is a submit button. Okay, submit button. While clicking the submit button, there are requests are going to the server. There are requests are going to the server. Okay, so these requests are nothing but the samplers. These requests are nothing but the samplers. These requests, in what order it has to go? These requests, in what order it has to go? That is actually controlled by your logic controller. Okay, these samplers are going in what order? Which is actually first, which is actually second, which is actually parallel. All those things are decided by what? Logic controller. Because logic controller is actually controlling the way in which the sampler has to go. The way in which the sampler has to go. That is what is actually decided by your logic controller. Okay, I'll take a pass here. Any question, guys, still no? Yeah. So in this only, I mean, in logic controller only, we are going to learn lot of different types of different types of logic controllers. Look at here, huge list is there. Okay, why I'm covering all these because during interview they are expecting you should know at least fundamental understanding of these controllers. Realistically speaking, in real world people are only using transaction controller or even recording controller. I mean, realistically speaking, people are using these controllers only, but knowing other controllers is actually a value add, so that is there in certain critical conditions you can use this controller as well. Okay, so yes, we are going to see each and every logic controller in a detailed way with example, so that you will understand, okay, what for we are using this controller, under what situation you have to prefer for what logic controller, like that you will get an understanding. Okay, so that is what about logic controller. Logic controllers means you are going to arrange, or in what order your samplers has to execute, right? That understanding we are going to get. Okay, and then config elements. Config elements. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, those who are not speaking. Yeah. So config elements. Okay, what is config elements? So what is actually happening when JMeter is actually recording your flow? Okay, maybe I'll give one more example. So look at here. So I told you already, you have your browser sitting here, and then you have your application server is actually available here, and then your tool, say like your JMeter's tool is actually sitting in the middle, man in the middle, which is actually your proxy server. So which means that a request is actually triggered. Okay, a request is actually triggered. So what will happen in this case? JMeter is actually like a proxy server. I told you, right? JMeter is actually sitting in the middle. So what JMeter is actually doing, cleverly what JMeter is actually doing, it is actually taking the copy of the request. One request copy it will take, and then it will send the request to your physical server. Okay, and then your server is actually processing the request, and then the response is actually coming back. Okay, response is actually coming back. So what your tool is again doing, it is again cleverly taking the copy of the response, and then the response is actually going to your browser. So in this activity, what is actually happening? The user is actually doing some activity in the browser. Say like you are launching www.amazon.com. While launching your www.amazon.com, a request is actually going to your server. So while going, what is actually happening? Your JMeter is actually taking the copy of the request. It is actually taking the copy of the request, and then the server is actually processing all the things, and then the response is actually coming back. Again, your JMeter tool, what is actually happening? It is taking the copy of the response, and then it is sending back the response to your browser. This is what is typically happening during the recording phase. During the recording phase, this is what is actually happening. Okay, say like you recorded, okay, all things done, all happy path done, things are going good. So what you are doing, you have to do the replay. You have to do the replay. Replay means what? You are validating whether all the recorded things in JMeter is actually working fine or what. Okay, you are validating whatever the recorded things are working fine or what. So in that case, what you are going to do, you are going to do a concept called replay. Replay. I mean, the recorded script you are going to replay. Okay. So okay, you are going to replay means what is actually happening? While clicking the button replay, what will happen? It will not simulate the browser at all. It will not simulate the browser at all. what will happen, the JMeter is actually having a copy of the request. The JMeter is actually having the copy of the request. From that, it will hit the server. From that, it will hit the server because JMeter is actually having a copy of the request, right? So what JMeter will do during the replay, it will not actually launch the request from browser. It is already having the copy of the request. Okay, that request will go to the server. Again, your server will give you the response, right? Your server will give you the response. This is actually called as what? Replay response. This is actually called as what? Replay response. So your JMeter is already having one recorded response, and it is also going to get a replay response. It will compare both the things are equal or what. Okay, it is actually having one copy of the recorded response, and it is also giving the replayed response. If both are equal, it will say pass. If both are not equal, it will say fail. That is how your JMeter tool is actually working. Okay, I'll repeat again. JMeter is already having a copy of the request, and it is also having the copy of the response. So what JMeter is actually doing, I am having a copy of a request. I am going to use that request to give it to the server, and server will process that request, and then the response is actually coming. So what JMeter will do, a new response is there, and I also have an existing response with me. So both the things I'm going to compare it. If both are equal, it is actually pass. If both are not equal, then it is actually fail. So that is how your JMeter tool is actually working. Not only JMeter tool, industry familiar tools are working in this way only. So this is how the proxy recording is actually working. So why I am explaining all this process, because in this activity, in this chain of reaction, if you really understand it, browser layer is not there. Browser layer itself not there. So browser layer is missing. So that browser is having certain intelligence phase. Okay, I mean, yeah, now in real world also you guys can go and observe. Say, or else if I tell that, like, what are all the things that are happening. So your browser is only having the intelligence to simulate cookie concept, caching concept. Okay, I definitely know you guys would have done this before, but I'm trying to recap it. So what is that? Whenever you guys are having problem in browser, somebody will come and say, oh, why don't you clear the cache? Why don't you clear the cookie? Like that and all only everybody will suggest it, right? So in browser, if you are facing any problem, everybody will suggest, why don't you clear the cache and cookie? So then what will you do? You will go to settings, and then you will clear the cache and cookie, right? So cache, cookie and all what? It is all intelligence built in browser. Intelligence built in browser. But in this case, what we are doing, we are not using the intelligence of browser at all. We are not using the intelligence of browser at all, because JMeter only replaying the script. So in order to bring the intelligence of browser, we are using a concept called config element. We are using the concept called config element, because config element is actually used for passing your cookie value, cache value, header value, authorization value, like that. You have the option to pass certain browser related concepts. That is the reason we are using the config element. Config element is nothing but you are trying to bring the browser behavior, browser intelligence you wanted to penetrate. That is the reason we are using the config element. Okay, so I'll take a pass here. Any question is still no?
Uh, yeah, what are all the applications JMeter will support, like browser applications and mobile applications?
Yeah, you answered already. Yes, it will support web application. It will support mobile application. Even, I mean, web application means comprises of different things, right? Like whatever different flavors that you wanted to record it. Yes, those are things are available. Mobile application, yes, you can try to record your, I mean, native, hybrid, web, all those types. Even web services are supported. Okay. So yes, I mean, Traditionally, if you see, JMeter had certain problem in recording certain protocol, but now they are, I mean, they are good in the market. They are leading the market. They have quite a bit of support in different protocols nowadays. Yes, you have wide range of compatibility is actually available, but in certain cases, I mean, I should also put the disclaimer, right? So, in certain cases, you should do a proof of concept before confirming the JMeter as tool. Okay, I mean, say like where you have certain confusion, like whether this tool is actually compatible with SAP or Oracle business. It is good that you can do a small proof of concept. Okay, and then you can confirm the tool. So other than that, I would say yes, it is actually compatible with all web application, but in certain cases you need to do the proof of concept. Other than that, it will support your web application and web services, REST services. All those things are supported in JMeter. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So next one is actually timers. Timers means what? So you wanted to simulate the real world behavior. What is the real world behavior? Say like you think like this. I'm launching Amazon.com, and then I'm searching a product, and then in that I'm selecting one product, and then in that I'm moving that to a cart, and then I'm doing the checkout process. I'm completing the flow. In this flow itself, you cannot do everything fast. You cannot do that. What you have to do, you have to log in, wait for some time, search the product, wait for some time, select the product, wait for some time, add to the cart, wait for some time, and then do the checkout, wait for some time, like that. You have to wait in each and every layer, right? Each and every layer you have to wait for some time. So that is what this timer is actually. So that waiting time, you have to handle it in JMeter using timers. If you are not properly adding the timers between the requests, what will happen? It will hit the application continuously, which is not realistic. You think like this. You think like you don't have timer in your script. What will happen? The tool will continuously hit the traffic. Hit like that. It will continuously hit the traffic. If you are continuously hitting the traffic, what is actually happening? That real world example is actually missing. What is that real world example? You have to wait and then only you have to move to the next process. You cannot expect a system to be completely hitting the system, right? That is not realistic. Okay, you have to click, wait for some time, and then only you have to go to the next system. That realistic behavior you wanted to handle it in JMeter means timers are used. Timers are used for realistic behavior. Time gap between one request to another request. That is what you are handling through timers. And then assertions. Assertions means what? You are validating something. You are checking something. Say like a page is loaded or what? A text is loaded or what? So you wanted to validate something. You are asserting something. That is what assertion means. Okay. And then listeners. Listeners means you are checking the reports in JMeter. Reports. Okay. Output. Okay. You are doing a load test. You are doing a stress test. You are doing an endurance test or any test that you are doing. You wanted to validate that output. That you are going to use it in a listener mode. Okay. Listener. Okay. So don't worry. In our regular session, I'm going to explain each and everything with the real world example, how the data is actually coming, how this one listener different from other listener, like that we are going to discuss as well. And then pre-processor. Okay. So there are situations, that's what somebody asked a question, right? So there are situations, your JMeter is not recording something. There are situations your JMeter is not recording something. In that situation, you have to pre-process certain things. You have to pre-process certain things. You have to prepare a small Bean scripting or small Groovy scripting or anything you are writing it small and then you are achieving certain activity means that is actually called as pre-processor. Okay, don't worry, very rare thing that is actually happening. So you don't require to do that, but in training we are learning things, right? So at least I should explain what is actually happening. So that's the reason we are having the preprocessor. Okay, you are pre-processing certain things and then pass it inside the script. So that is what preprocessor means. And then post-processor. Okay, post-processor. Okay, this topic is okay. This topic, if you are purely understanding what is actually happening, that's all. You completed learning JMeter. This is a very important topic. Out of 100% of the understanding of JMeter tool, if you are covering this post processor, which means that I would say you covered 90%. You covered 90% because this portion is very, very important. Post processor. I mean, there are times your application is very, very dynamic in nature. What is dynamic in nature? Dynamic in nature is nothing but you are logging in first. One way that application is actually working, that you are logging in second time, the application is actually changing certain criteria. I mean, the session IDs or some tokens, some value, it is actually changing in the application. So that dynamic behavior you wanted to handle it through JMeter means you should know what is post processor. Okay, don't worry, we are going to learn this post processor in a detailed way. So in that you are going to get what is actually happening, how to handle the dynamic value, all those things we will discuss. Okay, and then distributed load testing. I mean, where say there are situations you may require to do a large volume performance testing, say like 5,000 user or 10,000 user. In that situation, you cannot execute the test in single machine. You have to execute the test in different machines. So that you are going to learn it in the distributed load testing. Okay, distributed load testing or master slave. The other name is actually master slave execution. Master slave execution. Okay, so actually, guys, like anyways, we are going to discuss all these topics in the subsequent session. Okay, so those who wanted to enroll for this course journey, this is Kumar sir number 8019952427. Okay, 8019952427. Even what will I do, I'll copy paste his number in the chat. Okay, you guys can take it. Okay, this is Kumar sir number. Okay, so those who wanted to enroll for this course journey, please reach out to Kumar sir. I mentioned already, this is actually a weekday session. Okay, 6:30 to 7:30 IST time. Okay, and weekend holiday, Saturday Sunday holiday. Pretty much all interview related questions. Okay, interview related questions we'll cover. And so this is the timing. Okay, 6:30 to 7:30 Indian time. Correspondingly in other locations, US, UK people can join in this time slot. All artifact supporting documents we will share it through Google Drive. Okay, Google Drive, through which we'll share all the supporting documents. All these videos are actually recorded. Okay, all these videos are actually recorded. We will share the videos on daily basis through YouTube playlist URL. Those videos you are going to have it for lifetime access. Okay, you are going to use that for lifetime, and you can watch the video multiple times. Whenever you are getting any questions, you can come back and then we'll discuss. So those videos you are going to have it for lifetime access. And that's what I told you. Any questions, course content related, course timing related, anything that you wanted to discuss, you can discuss with Kumar sir. So there are 25 sessions. Okay, sorry, 28 sessions. So there are 28 sessions because based on the request from the learners, we increased our course content as well. So 28 hours we are going to learn. Okay, 28 hours each day, one hour we are going to learn. And weekday session only, Monday to Friday, 6:30 AM to 7:30 AM. Correspondingly in other location timings, weekend holiday as well. Okay, and I also mentioned like interview preparation things will be there, real world knowledge sharing will be there. So with that understanding, those who wanted to enroll for this session, please reach out to Kumar sir for any further information. Already we started discussing the things, lot of technical things we'll discuss. So from tomorrow we are going to start our day one session. Okay, day one session we are going to start from tomorrow. Don't want to miss anything. I wanted to continuously learn things means please Yeah, all the artifacts will be provided by the team in Google Drive, guys. Okay, Google Drive, we will share all the artifacts and material we'll share through Google Drive. Okay, so those who wanted to enroll for this session, please reach out to Kumar sir for any further information. And thanks for the learners who joined today for evaluating us. Thanks for the learners who given me the opportunity to share my knowledge and experience with you people. Yes, we are going to do the continuous learning, continuous knowledge sharing sessions. A lot of critical things we are going to learn. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Thanks all. Bye bye.